Hello, my name is Rennie Gonzalez, and welcome to the Home Improvement Therapist Show here on Madhouse TV. Although I attended some courses in psychology, by no means am I a therapist. I just thought the name would be fun and right to the point. I was introduced to the construction industry at a very young age. In fact, my father has a glass company since I was, I don't know, I can even start talking. And he would take my brother and I on lots of projects. I couldn't help but notice all the ups and downs that people experience in putting a simple project together, all the way from completing and building a whole house. All the obstacles that a contractor has to go through, and especially when he has to present it to the customer and tell them good news or the bad news, even while the project is well on the way. I could see the client's face change, and they get all upset, and they're asking the contractor, why can't my dream kitchen or my deck or my bathroom or anything like that, why can't it be finished as they discussed and how it was visualized? So this now, I'm sure you can relate to this if you have done some remodeling in your past. But all of the renovation comes with a learning process. And a learning process, anything new, brings stress and anxiety, and a customer blames the contractor for not knowing what was behind the walls or why can't I get the design that I wanted. This is where an experienced contractor needs to calm their customer down and give them the confidence that everything will be all right and everything's going to come out exactly the way they both agreed on. Customers feel that it's easy and smooth for a contractor when the project is started, when in fact there's a lot going on in the background even before the project gets started. This show will shed light on those craftsmen that take pride in what they do and love their finished work. They just love talking about it. They'll take tons of pictures and show all their friends and customers because they're really proud. They'll even use customers' houses as showrooms. I will also interview satisfied customers with positive experiences and as the remodeling project was on the way. Also, on the other side of the coin, I will interview customers that had nightmares and basically they just never want to do another remodeling project in their house. We will ask the contractors that on their honest opinion, the pros and cons on repairing and remodeling, and why in fact does it take longer than promised. And right now, and on that note, a contractor that has been in the business and understands all the ups and downs, I have personally done business with this company for the last few years. Customers talk great about him. They like the finished project and ask him to do more work. I would like to introduce Jim LeBourne from LeBourne and Riley. Hey, Jim.
Good to see you, Rennie.
Yes, good to see you. So what do you think? I mean, this show, how did you actually get involved in being a contractor?
Well, I worked my way through college, painting houses, restoring houses. It was a lot of sanding and scraping and,
So
hard, sweating summer work.
A lot of elbow work, a lot of elbow grease.
We had a bunch of college kids and we all did it together. We made decent money over the summers doing that. And I wasn't really interested in it at the time. I liked the business end of it at the time. But, I was going to be a big star when I was in college. And
Okay.
when we graduated, I started to make a few dollars. We were painting, we started building decks, we were putting windows in, and before you know it, I had a business, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. My grandfather had a business in New York City for 85 years.
Oh, wow.
Which was called Waterbury and Riley. It's kind of funny. And I changed it to LeBourne and Riley, and we've been around. I've been in business here for 32 years.
32 years, wow.
So, and this is how it kind of morphed into one thing led to another. We're doing decks and, like I said, windows, and then kitchens, and then bathrooms, and before you know it, we're building houses and doing huge dormers and additions, which, was the most fun. And
well, so what would you say, what percentage of the business, where do you get it from? Is it word of mouth? Is it the...
it's funny because word of mouth I've found is the best way to do business because you're going in a known name. You're going in recommended. You're going in with someone saying he's, somebody in the field who was recommended by my friend, my neighbor, my aunt, my uncle, and you have a much better opportunity and chance to.
So would you say you have more confidence going into
Oh
the
my God, yeah.
house? And
Matter of fact, I have a really good percentage of jobs that will, that I would get going into being recommended in this way. If you put an ad in the paper, which, advertising and marketing is great, but word of mouth is probably works out to be the best.
Sure. I mean, if especially when people are going to do a project, I mean, a home remodeling project can go anywhere from 10,000 all the way up to God knows what. You're not just going to grab somebody from the penny saver and say, "Hey, he's gonna do my
Lately,
job."
yeah. Well, here, we're in our market, which is Long Island in New York. The jobs were much bigger until the economy changed. 5 or 6 years ago. We were doing jobs. Dormers were real popular for years, and we did so many. And then all of a sudden, when the economy changed and the banks weren't letting go of the money any longer, we got back into smaller jobs. Again, renovating kitchens and bathrooms and windows and doors and, the staple of what construction is for me, a home improvement business is for me here, in New York, in Long Island.
So just stepping back a little bit, when you're saying that you were learning the business or learning the trade, so this is something that obviously takes years. And
Oh
it's-
my
and
God,
it's- and
yeah.
it's not just hands-on, but there's a lot of
There's a lot
mental,
of,
there's a
when
lot
I
of
was learning,
designing
when I was
involved.
learning the business, I mean, designing is a very important aspect of it, which you don't realize until you're well into it. When you're starting out a job, just to get it built is the feat. When you become more mature as a contractor, you learn not only just to get it built, but to have it look good, have it fit symmetrically in an area, in a neighborhood, have that street appeal, becomes really important. Again, in the beginning, just getting it built, but I went through many stages. I've not only learned how to build things, I learned every aspect of it, which I don't know if guys are doing today. It's the plumbing end of it, the electrical end of it, tile work, of course, the carpentry and framing, which is where we started. That's all was very important. But, as I learned every aspect of it, so, from ground to the finish, I can have knowledge. I know what the guys are coming in and doing. I know what the glass guys are coming in and doing. I know around what prices should be. So it was important. Now, look, it took me forever to learn how to do this. It took, every night I'd go home and if I didn't understand something, I would read about, say, electric. I'd read about framing something. If I didn't understand how to frame it, I would read about plumbing. And it took me years of hands-on, having contractors come in and show me things. I mean,
And it's not only, I mean, I have a lot of friends and I see a lot of guys, they know how to install an outlet, they know how to do plumbing, they know how to do roof, put a skylight in it.
Right.
But when it comes to talking to the customer, getting a customer, making sure everything goes right, and again, like I said in the beginning, feeling a customer, making them feel confident. Now that's a whole other side of the business.
Sure. Oh,
That's a whole other side, and you need to have that side to be able to run a business. There's a psychology part behind it.
It's very important, yeah. I mean, which is one of the big things about being recommended.
Right.
They're immediately a little more comfortable when you're recommended by, again, if it's a family member or a friend. And then, I've always found that the relationship you have with your customer is really important because you could be in their home. You're in their private space, and you're in their private space
For how long? For how long? It
could be
a while.
6 months, could be 3 months, however long it is. You're in their private space, in their bedrooms. You're having breakfast with them. You're having lunch with them. You're there during their vacations.
You're part of the family for
You're
a
part
while.
of it. You're the dog. You walk the dog when no one's home. I mean, and then I'm not kidding. This happens. So
I've had projects where they say, please don't let the cat out.
the cat, sure.
Yeah, well, watch out, the door's not open.
Or would you mind letting the cat out? There's all. So you really become very involved with the family. You become very involved with the household, what goes on in the house on a daily basis. So you do have to establish a good working relationship with who you're doing a job for, because there's when you're in someone's face, you're in their private space. There's a money transfer. Money is funny. People get a little concerned. What you're doing and what you're up to and when you're going to finish.
Absolutely.
So-
Yes, when you're going to finish. I
Right.
mean, that seems to be like the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You tell a customer 2 weeks, and here you are 2 months later, and it's still not finished.
Well, it's funny
Now
when you
things
say
start
2
getting-
weeks, because I don't know if you remember the movie The Money Pit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, of course, I used to hand out a copy of The Money Pit before every job and
Oh,
say,
really?
watch this, call me.
Okay.
It's
all right.
hysterical. And everything was 2 weeks. When's that going to be done? 2 weeks. When are we getting the permit? 2 weeks. When are you going to do the plumbing? 2 weeks. So, it was a good, prelim to a big job to watch, to know that the understanding of like, there's a process to this. And it's not a science. I'd like it to be, but it's not a science. But there's a process to this. And it's why contractors, professional contractors, are really your only bet in terms of people start contracting stuff on their own. But, to have that one person in charge of everything, that knows everything, has
Oh,
experience in everything,
That's a dream.
it's hard to
For-
even
for an
explain
owner.
how important that is.
It's a dream for an owner to actually hand off a project to a project manager
Oh, sure.
and let him take him from A to Z.
Sure. Oh,
And there's a lot that goes on in the background. I mean, I know of doing work with you, even a bathroom. I mean, from running out to Home Depot, let's say, getting a list of items. Now, the guy that you sent there maybe came back and didn't get everything
the
he's
right
supposed
thing
to
or
get,
got the right thing. Oh my God, yeah.
So it
No.
goes back and forth, and there's a stress level.
Sure.
There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
stress level, and you really can't show that stress level to the customer. You're trying to tell them everything's okay, don't worry about it, we're going
Right.
to fix it.
Sure.
And then how about the big thing where, especially in your type of business, you walked in there, you gave them a price, everything was good, and then you start opening the walls. Now you find this, you find that, and the price starts going up.
No, yeah.
Have you had that experience?
Oh, yeah, yeah. And you can almost, in some contracts, it's interesting because in some contracts, more in a commercial line, but I do mainly residential.
Right.
But in some contracts, they try and put a limit on it. You could say, now listen, whatever you find, 10% in your professional opinion, is this job going to blow up 10%, 15%, 20%? And look, there's an average. What are you going to find in the walls? Is the framing going to be correct? Is it all going to be square and level? You're going to be able to use what's there. Oh, look at the electric. This could cause a hazard. You find things all the time. Plumbing, this has been leaking in the wall for years. You have a picture, you show it to them, or you open it up and you wait for them to come take a look. And this is, happens all the time.
So basically, a crystal ball would be a really nice thing.
It would be
in
the
this business.
best.
It'd be a really good thing
Would
in
be
this
the
business.
best, yeah,
Because you
yeah.
could just tell the people, look, this is what's going to happen as soon as
Sure.
we open the wall. And then you could tell them.
And it does. And you know that usually you can get a gauge on the age of the home. If it's an older home, it's more likely. The younger home, it's not as likely unless it's in bad condition. But, you can, again, using professionals, you can really kind of gauge this. You can really get a better understanding because they understand how this goes. Rarely does a guy walk into a scene and, the job goes 10 times what the original cost was because you can
And something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong if
It's
you
a
didn't
big red
catch
flag.
a lot of things.
Right?
And then customers really should get somebody that's referred to them or do
the best
some
way.
research. I mean, this is your home. You're spending
Right.
this kind of money. So
Right.
if you don't want your stress levels and all those stories that go
Sure.
with home improvement,
Sure.
you don't want that to be so big.
I mean, a
But-
reference is the best, probably the way. Advertising is great. If a name that you've seen, would be someone to call. Checking credentials, licenses, and insurances. Again,
Sure.
it's very important to follow this up the line, and that's how you get a professional who, doesn't have any marks against them with the consumer affairs, who maybe doesn't have any marks against them with the Better Business, has their proper licenses and insurances in order. And it's not, and you should check this.
That even knows, like yourself, you kind of stay in a certain areas, and you know the houses.
Right.
So
Yep.
you know what's going to be there. You know what's going to happen
can
if you
kinda
take this.
anticipate, yeah.
So that's good. I mean, a contractor that's worked in the area. I mean, if you're going to get a contractor that's worked, let's say, in Nassau County, and you're out in the Hamptons,
Right.
he's probably not going to be too familiar with things. And what one contractor told me is like he doesn't like to travel far because his plumber is not nearby.
Right.
His electrician's not nearby. He's like, so I'm not going to go that far. But on that note, I like to say we'll be right back.
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching, doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
Stop the truck! Stop the truck! Please. Thank you.
YesWeCare.net is a 501c3 charity that provides help to veterans and their families. Please visit YesWeCare.net and donate in any way you can by purchasing our beautiful frame prints or relaxation CDs and DVDs, even smooth jazz CDs. YesWeCare.net. Remember, our troops are on their way home. They need all the support they can get. YesWeCare.net.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
This is Beth.
Hi.
Oh, congratulations. When are you due?
I'm not pregnant.
Oh, look at that. Excuse me.
You're totally thin.
You look very sexy.
For life's bleachable moments, all it takes is 3/4 of a cup.
Welcome back. I'm Rennie Gonzalez with the Home Improvement Therapist Show, here with Jim LeBorn. So one personal experience I've had with Jim is a bathroom that he did over in Amityville, and it was quite neat. I mean, you had to be creative with this type of bathroom, and you needed somebody that knows what they were doing and how to design it. And that was Jim LeBorn. And if we can have some pictures come up, and we can talk about it. Jim, this here is a picture that, what is that? That's the sink with the medicine cabinet, with the recessed medicine cabinet.
Yeah, which, was important for this bathroom because as much as I would like to take credit for all the design work, I did have someone look at this, designer I use all the time, take a look at this and do the floor layout. And again, it's important to have professional people doing these design layouts because they can give you the maximum amount of space or workable space in the smallest area. And this bathroom kind of had to have that happen here because they had a tub in there, if you believe it or not. You remember the original? With
That's
the tub?
right. That's right.
There was a tub in there.
It's got to be one of the pictures where where the shower door actually is, and you'll see this was extremely tight.
And we had to angle the shower pan. We had to cut on an angle, and your magic came in afterwards because your glass followed the angles that we had to make it. And it was really interesting because the tile work became with the header drop down, and we had the curb and this beautiful tile work. And then you came and put this gorgeous glass door. I don't know how you made those angles, but all these angles came together, and the homeowner is so
French
happy.
door,
And it was a French door, right?
We'll
which
see
made
that
it-
picture in a minute with the French door glass enclosure, but the actual layout of the tile and the way the colors
was
worked
beautiful,
out.
right?
Who does?
I mean, that's the homeowner had a lot of input on that. She went and she liked that. It was a marble. The floor was a marble. It was a basket weave marble, they call it. Something
Okay.
new now. It's become very popular. They're imitating it also in a ceramic tile. But classically, it's this basket weave pattern with a marble, a Carrara marble, and a black dot in it. And it's beautiful stuff. So that was the floor. And then she also did up the walls with an imitation. It was an imitation marble, which was actually really pretty.
Imitation marble?
Well, it's a porcelain tile that looks like marble.
Well, okay, I think I've seen that.
It's very cool. Yeah, it's nice.
It's starting to happen a lot.
And it's
It- it's really-
it's 20% of the cost, maybe 25% of the cost of the marble. So, and it's a beautiful product. We did the whole shower area was that too. Just the floor was that honed marble. Some of the accent pieces, there was a black pencil
Right,
as like a
right.
Listel that ran around the whole room, which was a marble. It was a black onyx marble, they call it. And in the shower stall itself, that marble ran through there too, and the floor was these river rocks now. This has become real popular in shower
River rocks,
pans.
yes.
It's like looks
I
like
think
real
I've
rocks on
seen
the
that.
floor.
Is that
You
good
got
on the
it in?
feet?
Well, it's really, believe it or not, they have different styles.
Therapeutic or something?
There's one that has a little bit of a curve to the stone,
Okay.
which is a little bit rougher on the feet, but there's one that they made flat. It's a flat rock that you grout in to the the shower pan, and it's beautiful. It's very natural looking and beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, the bathroom came out really nice. And right there, I believe, yeah, there's the shower doors and the actual shower. But yeah, I mean, when you told me to come over and take a look at that shower and what could we do, I was just really scratching my head on that one.
I remember that.
That was a tough one. That was a tough one, but we were able to design
Yeah.
something, and
Yeah.
and both
And it came
doors
out
open
great.
up, and
That's
walk
what's
right in.
that's what's great.
It's comfortable.
It's a custom door.
It was,
And for those doors to open as French doors in a shower stall and to close properly and no water leaks out. I mean, this is what using the professional is all about. This is what you can't get this just anywhere. You have to.
Well, that was the reason why we needed to design those doors because, again, that bathroom had a bathtub, you're saying, right?
Yeah, it had a bathtub. Yeah. Yeah.
So then how did you actually walk into the bathroom? Because, I mean, the bathtub, didn't it come out too much?
Actually, if you remember, you walked in, it was almost like you had a 3-foot area
Yes.
from shoulder to shoulder to walk in, and then the room broke open.
Right, okay.
Where it broke open to the right is where where the tub was. But it filled the whole space. And they could only put a curtain on it. They couldn't use shower doors because it went into the back wall where the window was, so there was no way to put glass doors on this. It was a really, it was a put-together situation that apparently they needed a bathroom and they needed it in this spot. Some of these old cottage homes, they weren't designed to have a bathroom put here. Then they were retrofitted years later, and people say, well, let's use this big closet and use it as a
See,
bathroom.
that's where the experienced contractor
And
comes
that's
in.
what happened,
That's where it
So
comes
they
in.
originally didn't make the great use of space, which we ended up doing it, and everyone was really happy. And again, what really tipped it off was, in the end, was those doors, and they're so happy with this. I was actually just speaking to her today, and they're really very, very happy with the way that came out.
It's if we can see the picture where the base, you could see the actual base. I want the audience to see that base and the angle of that base. Oh, I'm being told we have a phone call. Let me just. Hello, this is Rennie with the Home Improvement Therapist Show. Who's this?
Oh, hi, Rennie. My name is Claudia Stratford.
Oh, hi.
I just wanted to ask some questions. Wow, I'm just so interested in the show.
Okay, all right, and yeah, this is Jim LeBourne from LeBourne and Riley,
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
and Claudia. Did you say
Claudia.
what is it that made you call the show?
I'm just so absolutely interested in the whole concept of your show and how educational it is, because I went through a whole renovation of my kitchen slash.
How long ago?
And I don't know. I guess I wasn't very well informed in certain parts, and that's why shows like this are absolutely terrific.
All right, and how long ago did they do the remodeling?
They did it about, I'm going to say about a year, close to a year ago.
All right, so that's not too long ago.
Not
and
too long ago. Yeah.
and what did you get done?
Well, I had my the kitchen slash dining room done.
Okay, so that's a decent
It was a
project.
big,
Kitchens are
yeah,
usually
it-
pretty
it
good
was-
projects for you
it
guys,
was
right?
Big,
Right.
yeah,
Okay,
big
ki-
project.
Was
a big-
how was the contractor? How would you rate him? Do you think he did a good job?
Looking back now that everything has settled in and I have settled in, I am going to say good and bad.
Okay.
Which is not.
It's a popular comment.
I can't say bad. I'm going to say good and bad, to be honest.
All right, let's
That's why things, your conversation and your show is just giving me like, wow, I wish I would have seen this before I even got started with my project.
Right.
let's start with the bad. Now, what was it? The timing that they promised, what they
I am
did they do
going
what they
to-
promised?
The time, yes. Even coming in the morning, to the fact of the days, and to, of course, the timing on when they're going to be finished. That was bad. That was bad.
Well, I'm sure there was obstacles. There was things that were unforeseen, like we were talking about
Right.
before.
Could you
There-
communicate with him though? Well, like, did your communication with him go
Well,
well?
the thing with the contractor that I had, they also had a project manager, so I
Oh.
never really communicated with the guys who were coming here. It was the project
He
manager.
was always the manager, right? I see. Yeah.
And sometimes he was all over the place, and I couldn't reach him.
So the guy you actually signed the contract with, you basically didn't see him again.
No, never saw him again. He had a project manager doing it. Hmm.
How
And
did
he
the
was
men
my
who were
guy.
working on the job? Do you think that were they nice and could you communicate with them? Whoever they would send there, they seemed pleasant enough. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, they were pleasant. It's just that I always felt that we were in a different page.
right?
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
We were not in the same page all the time.
Was it much past the date which you thought it was going to take? Did it go much
Oh
longer?
yes, it
did.
was much more. Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, just to give you a little bit of background where I'm coming from, I had I have a daughter who was getting married September 1st, and I needed everything to be done by her shower,
One of those.
which was in June.
Right.
So
Okay.
the push was.
Okay.
They promised me everything to be over by the end of April, and we went way to the first week of June.
All right, so that's what is that? May, June. All right.
A little
Well,
long. Ran a little long, yeah.
and a little
Yeah.
long. I mean, did you add anything to the project, or was everything exactly the way?
No, I think a lot of the timing was miscommunication with I don't know, the contractor and the project manager and the manufacturers. That's what I'm gonna say that was probably the problem.
So you don't think, was it this last May and June?
I'm sorry.
Was it last May and June?
Yes, yes.
Do you think, was there any interference with, because I know there's a lot of guys, myself included, who were very involved in all the Sandy repairs.
That's huge.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
think that was,
That was
you
huge.
think that was an issue, or was he just overwhelmed, or was he not
Maybe he
running?
was. Maybe he.
Yeah.
Maybe that could have been the thing. I mean, he never expressed that to
Right,
me.
okay, okay.
But I just felt that the person that I made the contract with, I did not see him.
You never saw
I
it,
saw
right,
project manager, and I saw the men doing the work.
right.
So basically, this was kind of stressful for you?
Oh, no, you have no idea.
So Jim,
Very
what would you say to customers like this?
Well, this is interesting
Lessen the
because
stress.
this is where I think we've been fairly busy for the past 30 years, because I stay, and I would recommend, you stay very involved with your client. You stay very involved with them on a daily basis. If you're doing a job that size, you stay so close, in fact, that, like I said, you become part of their household, and that's how I think it should go. And the communication is every day. The wants, needs, and desires are spoken about every day. So there's a lot smaller opportunity for anything to go wrong. You're talking about what's good and bad every day. It's not 2
Right.
weeks later, a
But
week
that-
later.
That's exactly what I was led to believe when I first,
Right.
signed the contract, that this was going to be. But little by little, it just faded. Sometimes maybe 2 days it wouldn't come.
So on the other side of the coin, what was all the good things?
The good, I'm going to say very thorough with the cleaning.
That's a big plus. That's
Big
very
plus,
Yeah, that
yeah.
is a big
That
plus.
is a big plus, sure.
What else could I say? It was good. I guess that I was very happy that everything, not everything, but at least I was able to have my daughter shower, bridal shower. So I think that's what I'm believing, that, there was so positive. I'm going to say thorough with the cleaning. I can't stay on time. It's just very hard.
Was your final product a nice product?
I was just
I
going to
mean,
say, did you get what you wanted?
Right.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And believe it or not, we are in February of 2014, and I still have things that I'm calling them about.
And the workmanship was good, though?
Yes.
Well, she's
yes.
calling them about some
About
things,
certain things, but-
certain things, but are they're going to come back and repair it, or?
Well, I have made exactly 4 phone calls.
4?
They do promise to come back. I have not received a call back.
It's probably something you
giving
should
me
stay,
some time.
you just have to, I guess, stay on it, and,
Yeah.
All right, so very
hopefully
good.
everything will work out.
Claudia,
Thank
thank
you.
you so much for calling, and hopefully this was informative to some of the other viewers.
It was nice speaking to you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you
Take
so much. You know what? I just want to say that, we need shows like this. This is what
Okay.
we need to educate ourselves before we
Good.
even start doing
Good.
anything.
Very
But
good.
thank you so much.
All right, bye-bye.
You guys have a good evening.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So, on that note, we'll be right back. Thank you.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act One will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote, or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy you did.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our two offices. Thank you.
I am Tom Mealy for the Harrison Law Group, and I have been telling you for years that getting involved in an automobile accident is no joke. This is what we do. We're not new at this game. If you've been involved in an accident of any kind and you go to a law firm that says you have no case, it's simple. It's because they can't do it and they don't get it. You need to call us directly at 1-800-INJURY-LAW.
For professional motorcycle transport and towing, think Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing. Proudly serving all of Long Island, we feature expert handling and 24/7 service. So send a limo for your toy with Kickstart Fabrications Motorcycle Towing.
Hello, and welcome back to the Home Improvement Therapist Show. I'm Rennie Gonzalez, and I'm here with Jim LeBourne from LeBourne and Riley. So from that caller, that they were saying something like, now they got their job done, it was completed, but there are some things that are going on with the job, and they're calling back, and they need what we call a service call. They need some patching up, something probably did not stay or move.
It's
mainly,
many it's punch list stuff.
It's a
we
punch
call
list,
it punch
okay.
list stuff that, you like to try and get, and there's usually several items. Look, like I said, this isn't really a science. We'd like to try and make it be, but it's not. So there are things that are going to happen after you leave. There are certain things that you may forget. There are certain things you can't do till weeks or months later. And, you put it together in the form of a punch list. And you come back and you take care of the punch list, and hopefully everybody's happy on both sides, But it's very common, callbacks, especially in big custom jobs. When you're doing a job, even if a job that's $50,000 to $100,000, you're doing a lot of work in someone's home, and it's all custom work. There's no modular stuff being plugged in. It's all custom work. So things can go wrong. You'll have to come back at certain times to make a few repairs, maybe make a few changes, tweak a few items, and it happens all the time.
And obviously, that's something that comes out of your pocket.
Well, it comes out of your pocket
callback.
in a sense that, when you give a price for a job, though, you have to count this in. You have to figure this in and say, well, we're going to have to go back because I don't care how good you are, how experienced you are, there are going to be reasons to have to go back and do a few repairs, do a few tightening, a little tweaking here and there. It's something you're always going to do. So you figure it in from the beginning.
Right. So this last caller was saying that they got they had a kitchen done / I think living room, dining room or something. I guess dining room.
Right, yeah.
So in a kitchen, I mean, I know a kitchen is a nice size project, depending on the size of the kitchen, of course. But there's a lot of components.
That's, yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I mean, what could actually, after the kitchen is up and the appliances and all that, what could actually go wrong?
There are so many things. I mean, a cabinet doors being misaligned is very popular. You know, the dishwasher makes a funny noise, or, you know, the lights aren't in sequence. I mean, you know, the lights aren't dimming, the dimmer's not working, you forgot to put a dimmer in, the color almond doesn't match, we wanted light almond, not regular almond. I mean, you know, I could go on and on. There's a million reasons why you would get called back. But, you know, again, you're supposed to figure this in. You're supposed to go back and make your customer 100% satisfied. That's how you get repeat callers. That's how you promote business and you know, hopefully, you know, go to work every day, you know, with this in mind, that you're going to make people happy every day, you know, and do the right thing.
And hopefully at that point, when you're going in there and doing the callback and the service, they don't have a pad already with a
Well,
bunch
they
of other
often,
stuff.
no, that's almost always, yeah, there's a pad, and you start scratching things off as you're getting through it, you know.
You have to explain why this
sometimes-
happened,
sometimes
or why
some
it
of the-
can't be fixed, or this is the way it is.
Exactly. Sometimes, you know, it's unreasonable. We just finished a job where there was a terracotta tile floor
Oh, that's
that
beautiful.
had been there for 30 years. Matter of fact, I
Okay.
think I did it 30 years ago. And they didn't want to change it. They spent a lot of money on the renovation, and it was a kitchen, and they didn't want to change the floor, so we had to work around it.
Wow.
And then when we were done, we had to patch it in and make it look exactly identical to what it was 30 years ago. And we did. I
And
should
you
have brought
did.
pictures, because we did. It was.
I'd love to see those pictures.
It's funny, terracotta tile just kind of blends in 30 years later.
Wow.
It's how it's kind of how it goes, and it was pretty neat.
Is that the one does that have to have the wide grout?
Yes, wide grout lines. There's an oil sealer that you put on it. You know, if you get them, you know, back in the day, we used to get them unfinished, and you'd install them. This is kind of interesting. You'd install the terracotta tiles, and they're unfinished. And the clay, it looks like regular clay.
Right.
You had to finish them with this oil first, and then grout them. Otherwise, the grout would stick to it.
Wow.
So it was kind of an interesting
All right,
process,
all right.
yeah.
So anybody that's doing terracotta tile,
Tile,
they should know this.
yeah, they should know that. And one of the funniest things about that is that when you, it's a linseed oil is how you seal these, and that linseed oil, the rags you use become combustible 24 hours later. So if you don't neutralize it by putting it in water,
It could be dangerous.
It just and I've seen it happen on a couple of occasions where that happens. So again, professional contractor. Another plug for that. You know,
it's somebody that
people who know what they're doing. Yeah.
Somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
They've experienced with all these different types of
Sure.
materials.
Sure.
It's not just the customer says, "I want this. I want to put ceilings on a tile. I want to do this. I want to do that," and you're just saying yes to them
Exactly.
just to get the job.
Exactly.
You know, you're telling
Yeah.
them the
Right.
bad part about why they shouldn't do something.
Exactly. Sure.
Now,
Yeah.
have you had customers take you to, let's say, tile stores or take you?
Oh my
places?
goodness, all the time. Yeah, all the time. You know, you send people there, they take you there, I take them there. You know, there's and again, depending upon, you know, the regular tile stores as versus the big Home Depot or Lowe's, where, you know, they have good products and decent products, and they have somewhat of a selection, not like the tile stores, though, which have huge selections. The difference is the Home Depot and Lowe's, you can walk out with it in your hand, but when you go to the tile stores, you know, you may have to order it. But the products are usually a couple of grades better. But, you know, shopping for things like that, you know, becomes really time consuming. So you hope, and you talk to your customer beforehand and you say, listen, here's some homework you have to do.
Oh, you give them money, yes.
Start looking for tile.
Sure.
Start looking for cabinetry. Start looking for bath fixtures. Appliances, you know, anything that you need, start looking for now, because, you know, we don't want to get jammed up with it later when we need it and not have any idea what you want. You know?
Right.
Again, where design comes in, it's kind of important, you know, on the design end of it.
So the customer I mean, one good thing to lessen the stress, would you say the customer should already have a good picture in their head or some designs and some...
Great idea, right, to
that-
go through designs. And
Instead of just you coming into the house and say, I want
unless
this.
they don't know, and they say, help us, then you bring in people. You bring in
Okay.
designers, you
Sure.
bring in architects, space planners, decorators, sometimes are very important because they can really, there's a difference between a decorator and a designer. A designer can really lay out the space for you and knows how everything works together. Refrigerator doors have to have clearance for this, and this dishwasher door has to have clearance for that. Whereas a decorator will make it look nice with colorization, with different finishes of wood, different
That's
floor
important.
finishes. It's
That's
so
important.
important. It's
That's
so
very
important to
important.
put this here instead of maybe there for aesthetic value. So there's a big need for both.
Sure.
But they both have a difficult or different job.
But sometimes some of these projects, obviously, there's budgets that have to be met, and
Budgets are important.
you
Yeah.
know, you're talking about an
Yeah.
architect, a designer, decorator. Now you
Well, again, it
It's getting a
depends.
little
Yeah, like
crazy,
you
but-
said,
but,
it's much. If you're dependent upon your budget, if you've looked through magazines, if you've gone into neighbors' homes, this is where you get your biggest or your best ideas from. And then they'll give it to us, or they'll give it to a designer, or they'll give it to an architect, and they'll make a plan. Then we'll follow the plan. Often, it's just us and the homeowner.
right, yes, absolutely.
I can tell you what I've seen. I'm not a designer, but most of the times I can tell them what I've seen. And I got to tell you, Rennie, about a third to half the time, that's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
We
I mean,
kind of sit there, we kind of work out a design together, and come up with something that everybody likes, and we kind of roll with that.
And will they stick to that design, or halfway
They-
through it they start
They
changing?
do. They do tend to stick to their original designs. If
Okay,
they
good,
see
good.
something better along the way, we could upgrade that a little bit, which does happen. But you could upgrade that along the way.
But that can definitely give you stress if you start changing designs.
Once you
in the
start
middle.
changing, because you got to remember, you have a crew there working in this direction, doing this design, and if you change that, if for any reason, if the action has to stop to change that, that can be costly. That can be costly. So that's why it's good to have everything worked out ahead of time, so that process doesn't have to be shut down, because when you have men and hourly wages and plumbers and electricians and all stacked up behind you, that's where it can get costly.
And a customer has to kind of realize that. I mean, as much as you want to keep them satisfied and you want the project to go perfect from A to Z, you want them to refer to you, you want everybody to be with a smiling face, the customer has to realize that, it's not a perfect world.
Right.
It's not like you could take two moldings and you could miter them and they could come out perfect. But what's happening around them, what's the other trade is doing, if the trade before you did not do their job correctly, then your job
so
is not going to
important.
come out
It's very
good.
important, yeah.
So it's important that every trade
Right,
knows what they're doing.
right.
And again, from what the caller had said before, where there's service calls and there's callbacks, I mean, would you be willing to go to somebody else's jobs and try to fix them?
Sure. Oh, we do it all the time.
Oh,
I mean,
you would
we
do
get, if the guy didn't come back, I've been around for a long time, and people know that they can rely on me as coming back. So this is something that we
you know
we
what?
will do.
I just got a signal that this is the picture we wanted
Oh, that's
to
that floor.
actually.
It's a beautiful floor.
Yes, we were describing it, and that's the floor where there used to be a bathtub there, if I'm correct.
There was a bathtub right there. Yeah, it was a interesting floor. I don't know if you could see that, if you can get in close enough to see that that's a rock. I think I don't know if it's a river rock or not, but it's a rock floor that's grouted into the base, and it really creates a beautiful effect.
It does. Oh,
There
there
it
you
is.
go.
Oh,
There's
that's a great
the
shot.
angle.
Yeah, it's a great angle,
I mean,
right?
this bathroom was so narrow, and you guys came up with such an interesting concept, an idea, and it works. It works. The customer was extremely happy, and
Very pleased. Yeah, they liked it.
It really worked out where it's comfortable. You opened up the double doors. You walked in. It was a great design, and again, I mean, I cannot emphasize enough that comes with experience.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's something that takes a long time to kind of perfect, over the years. your eye can see what'll work and not work.
Yeah, you probably walk into a house or a kitchen or a bathroom or a deck, and you could right away, you could probably visualize it.
You
in
get
your
a
head.
feeling. You get a feeling.
It's
Yep.
so great to be able to do that where a customer or client they just can't see it.
They
know,
can't. It's very difficult for them to see. You know, it's really funny how many clients don't have that vision.
Oh,
They don't
right.
have that sight. And it's difficult to see. I can walk into a project and kind of visualize it to the end, which again takes a little doing, takes a little knowledge. But sometimes the customer can't see it, which again, if you can make a sketch, if you could bring in a designer, bring in a decorator, you know, they could make a little sketch, it helps out a lot. Or pictures from past jobs or
Sure.
magazines, all these
Or-
home decor magazines today, you know.
Do customers ask you, can I see any of your other jobs?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest selling points is like, you know, going back to old jobs and, you know, taking a look. It's difficult to.
So the ones that they went perfect.
That went well.
They
Yeah.
went well. There was no issues. You bring them to those.
Right, no, yeah. There's
But
a few.
no, you
Look,
gotta bring
I
them
have
to
a
all.
high hit ratio for making people happy.
Oh, excellent. Yes,
I've always
yes.
had that. But there are some people, of course, like in everything, you can't make everybody happy. But I have a really high percentage rate. So I was able to, you know, over the course sometimes of years, to be able to bring people back to jobs. But, you know, you feel bad doing it. So you kind of bring them back to your most recent jobs.
Sure, of
You know,
course,
when
because then
people
you can talk
remember
about
and
it a little more.
talk
It's
about
more
it.
fresh in your head.
And it's newer
Sure.
stuff, you know, it's newer, updated techniques and styling and stuff, so it's usually a little more modern looking. So, but it's a big plus to a contractor to sell a job is to be able to take him, to not only to take a look at the work that he's done, but to know that that's a reference, that's a recommendation. If someone's letting you come in their home and view what you've done, that's a recommendation that this guy did a good job.
And that's perfect. I mean, that's a closer right there.
Sure.
If not.
Oh yeah.
And if any viewer out there has had an issue with remodeling and your contractor is not calling you back to finish up the job or anything that went wrong, you can call Jim. And Jim, your phone number?
516-445-3466.
You can call Jim, and here we are. We've been talking about it, and he will do the right thing. Thank you so much. And this is another episode of The Home Improvement Therapist. Thank you. Have a good night.